What's going on, everybody? Being that it's 10 days away to Halloween, we are going to be talking about Halloween, the first three movies, and Michael Myers. Let's get into that. What's going on, everyone? We're going to be talking about Halloween and Michael Myers. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the first three of the franchise, which, in my opinion, are the only three that really are worth mentioning. So let's get right into it. This is the franchise, the slasher character that really started the slasher craze, that really set the bar and set the road for every other slasher to follow. So not that he was the first, but he was the most iconic at the time, who really just paved that way, right? And let's get into a little bit of why that was. So in the first Halloween, Michael Myers is this 6-year-old kid who kills his sister, and you don't know why. He just, on Halloween night, he murders his sister, and then he's sent off to a sanitarium where years later he escapes after being evaluated by Dr. Loomis. And Dr. Loomis comes to realize that, as he says, what's behind this boy's eyes is just purely and simply evil. So after he escapes, he sets his sights on Laurie Strode, who he finds talking to Tommy Doyle. He finds out that she's going to be babysitting him, and he finds out what time. He stalks her, gets the place, and he proceeds to attack her and kill her friends who get in the way as collateral. He just goes on this murder spree, right? So that's really it for the storyline of Halloween. It was very simple. It was very to the point, and it left some air of mystery around Michael Myers, around who he is, anything about him, like why he does what he does, why he felt that urge. It just doesn't give you much of that. It just tells you that he's purely and simply evil. And of course, we find out in the movie after he's stabbed and shot multiple times that he's not exactly just a human. He has some supernatural ability to him, some supernatural characteristics, personality to him. So that's the first movie. It wasn't until, and the first movie, by the way, it was great, right? It became an instant classic. Like it was an absolute success. It was a low budget indie film, which I love those. I think those are always the best. And it was just an instant classic. Everybody loved it. Everybody wanted more of it. They wanted to follow this character and everything. He became an overnight sensation. So, and with that very little story. So now part two goes into a little more, and they changed it because in part one, Laurie was not supposed to be Michael's sister. That it wasn't even like it was supposed to be hidden. It really wasn't part of the plan at all from what I've read and listened to. So, and it wasn't even supposed to be called Halloween, actually. It was supposed to be called The Babysitter Murders, because this serial killer goes after babysitters. That was just like his target. But that's what it was supposed to be. But in part two, we get the idea that Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister. And again, this wasn't supposed to be part of it, but they did change it because people wanted more, and they wanted to give it a little more of a storyline to follow. Which, okay, I think it actually played out well. I kind of liked it just, off of the first movie, where you don't know too much, where there's not much rhyme or reason behind it, where now he's like, it seems like he's trying to just kill off his family line. Like it just, it starts to get into areas where it gives too much information about the slasher, or it puts too much story to him, where it doesn't leave so much mystery behind him. So that's my opinion on that. So, but part two was great, and it ends with, Michael Myers attacking Laurie, and Dr. Loomis once again finds Michael Myers while he's attacking Laurie. He once again comes to her rescue. He kills Michael Myers in an explosion and himself, and it was supposed to end there. That was supposed to be the end of Michael Myers and the Halloween movies. And that it should have been. But I did say I was going to talk about part three. So why? Why do I say that should have been the end of Michael Myers and the Halloween movies? Well, part three was called Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. And I think this is why a lot of people put it in their head that, they don't like this movie. I think this is part of the reason, is that they expect it to follow Michael Myers, the franchise, but it doesn't. It actually has nothing to do with Michael Myers. It's actually supposed to be, nothing associated with that. It actually even shows a commercial of the movie Halloween in the movie. It's playing on TV. Some security guard is watching TV, and you see the commercial in there in the movie. So it has nothing to do with Michael Myers or the movie. It's supposed to be completely separate. And I think it should have stayed that way. I think part 3 was an awesome movie. It wasn't the same storyline. It wasn't about a slasher. It was about this witch who he owns this like mask company, Silver Shamrock, and it sells like masks and gag gifts and toys and things like that. And he's using these masks that he created with like a chip in the back of them to basically sacrifice anyone who's wearing them at a certain time on Halloween. And he explains it to the protagonist of the movie that this was his plan, and this goes back to his ancestors, and their craft, their witchcraft, right? So I thought that was a really cool story, associating Halloween with witches and craft and witchcraft. I thought that was really cool, and the way they did it, the idea that he had, to be like, nationwide or even worldwide, whoever was wearing these masks, they were gonna, be sacrificed on Halloween when he sends out the signal. So that's basically the story of part 3, which again, I think was a very cool movie. I loved it. Part 3 actually gave me more Halloween vibes than part 1 and 2. Yeah, I think, because it had all like the masks, the decorations, and it was like days before Halloween. It wasn't on Halloween, like the other 2 movies. It actually took place like a few days before Halloween, which is where we get the countdown that we just can't get out of our fucking heads now. Thank you, Silver Shamrock. But it takes place days before, and you see like this lead up to it, and you see decorations, masks, people getting ready for it and everything. And it just gives real cool Halloween vibes, just like you want to get days before Halloween and stuff. So that's one of the reasons I really liked it and thought it was so cool. Now, I think it should have stopped there, the Halloween franchise. I even though that was called Halloween 3, I don't think it should have been. I think it, again, should have just been called Season of the Witch and should have been a standalone movie, just something done on the side. I don't know why they decided to make it part of the Halloween franchise. Nevertheless, it was a really cool movie. And I think that's where the franchise should have stopped. Because, like I said, with the storyline, ever since Halloween 3, what we had was just more and more stories trying to be put around Michael Myers. This iconic slasher who started out just with, very simple. The story was very simple, very to the point, nothing major explained. He was just an evil presence inside this guy's body, and he just wanted to kill. And that's what we all loved. That's what everybody loved about Halloween. That's what everybody loved about the slasher, the killer. And I think people don't realize that. And then people start wanting to know more and more. And look what happened when we got more and more. We got to eventually what happened with that last piece of garbage that I'm not even going to acknowledge. And I really wish I could forget ever existed. I think there's a lot of people out there who feel the same way. That being said, this is what happens when they try to put more and more story to Michael Myers and the movies. They tried to explain more about his family and then how many times Laurie died and then came back, or it was like she died, but no, she really didn't. Now this movie ignores everything from this part and yada, yada, yada. And just so much nonsense that it just really diluted it and really watered it down and made it a joke, made a mockery out of it. And I think it did a real disservice. I don't know why they allowed that to happen, but it did a real disservice to such an iconic slasher, such great movies. And this is why I say, like, just let it die when it's supposed to die. And let's just enjoy what we had. Let's move on and create more, just like Art the Clown is doing now. So thank you guys who created Art the Clown. And, let's let that play out to its end and then just leave it But anyway, we're here to talk about Halloween. This is the slasher that really started it all. You know, he wasn't the first, but he's the one who really started the craze, who really gave us that appreciation for the slasher flick, and, you know, one of the most iconic characters ever. So that's my thoughts on the Halloween franchise, on Michael Myers, and why I think it, you know, the first three were great movies that should have just stayed there, and why everything after that was a real, like I said, disservice to the character and to the franchise. So with that being said, I'm going to end this video there. Please like and subscribe. I hope you like this one. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. And happy Halloween.